Welcome to Shonen Flop Chibi, First Impressions mini episode where we talk about the first chapter of the series we'll be covering in depth next week with our guest, Sarah, the official series letterer. I'm Jordan, and with me today, as usual, is my co-host, David. Say hi, David.
Hi, David.
What series are we covering this week, David?
We're covering sex at 120% because we always give 120%.
That's right, especially on sex exams.
God, I don't want to get into that. Not in today's society.
I got an S+ on my sex exam.
The S stood for...
Sex. Yeah.
So who made this manga, Jordan?
This was drawn by somebody just named Hotomura and was written by Tataki Kikiki. I like that name.
No relation to Wataki.
That means it's Tataki Kikiki.
God, he really fumbled it with Thor, Love and Thunder, didn't he?
Taika Waititi?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Shout out to the 2 different people that texted me about how a ceiling collapsed during the new Captain America, but since the theater was empty, no one got hurt.
Yeah. I hope Marvel movies die finally so we can move on. But yeah, so this ran from January 14th, 2020 to February 10th, 2021. 22 chapters and 3 volumes. Yeah.
Yeah. What a good run. And I was surprised how short this first chapter was.
Yeah, this was pretty quick. I mean, I guess it makes sense. This is kind of the definition of edutainment.
It is the final frontier of Shonen Flop, edutainment. There's like 5 or 6 areas like this should have been edutainment.
At last.
Like Hakukaku.
Hakukaku, yes.
And that's what it's all about. But I also
which is different from Hakutaku.
I could not give more of a shit about that series.
That is okay.
So Jordan, why don't you tell us about what happened in this chapter?
All right. So here's the thing, David. Japanese society has a problem with sex. Some people are having sex too early, while other people aren't having sex at all.
That feel win.
Yeah. Despite this, schools do a really bad job teaching sexual education. Suji, a gym teacher, is about to change this for her first sex ed class because, as we all know, the gym teacher is the one who's qualified to teach sex ed, you know?
Average American education.
Let's not bring in somebody who's actually trained in this. It's just, I don't know, our least qualified teacher, you fucking teach.
Isn't that pretty common, though, that the gym teacher teaches health class?
It is, and it's not good. That's my point. That shouldn't be the case. That's just how it is. Yeah.
That's fair.
But yeah, for her first sex ed class, she decides to talk about, quote unquote, how to initiate sex, which pretty much seems to come down to asking somebody to help you test out condoms.
Yeah.
Popcorn David.
One girl imagines 2 boys testing out condoms while another imagines her cat tearing it up. Another girl is a lesbian, so Suji tells her about dental dams. Well, it's not so much they're like, hey, you're a lesbian, let me tell you about it. It's more like, this is pertinent to me.
Yeah.
The school nurse comes in the class to tell Suji to stop. Suji asks her if she wants to test out a dental dam with her and is decisively rejected. She ends it by saying not to worry because less people are having sex than you think.
Yeah.
So Jordan, what were your thoughts on this? Like, it was only 25 pages, so this may be a very short chibi.
So first of all, I am glad a series like this exists. I feel like this is literally the first time, with the exception of maybe, Killing Me or something, where it's, oh no, this character's a lesbian.
Feeling it's like Duran Duran that had a character that just offhand said they had a girlfriend. Like there was just like a very subtle lesbian in one of the series we've covered.
Duran.
Something we covered, there just happened to randomly be a character who was a lesbian. So if anyone remembers, please drop a comment.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I guess ITLC,
She was bisexual.
She was bisexual.
Actually, probably pansexual.
Yeah, it was more criminal sexual. Yeah. It didn't have anything to do with your gender. It had to do if you were committing a crime or not. She was into it.
Sex.
ITLC.
What a manga.
Yeah, no, this is like the first one where it's just like, at least in like a very long time, where it's just like, no, this character is a lesbian and she has a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. This is addressing her sexual education needs. You also got to respect that this series starts out explaining dental dams, which is something that I think a lot of people don't understand. And she went right into analingus.
She did.
She immediately started talking about tongue in that ass. And you got to respect a series that eats ass. That's how you know this was written by millennials. But yeah, you think it is fucking...
The art is solid.
Yeah.
Which is really needed for a series like this so they can actually make sure the anatomy, if they show it, is drawn properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Edutainment, finally recovering it. So we'll see if I keep saying this series should be Edutainment, so we'll see if Edutainment actually is an interesting topic. And I think as the actual structure of this series, the pacing was really disjointed. I feel like it may be like Champagne, where they just have a topic and then they write it around it, and it feels very unnatural. But they're trying to think of like, how do we still have a plot while just talking about like the edutainment we wanted to cover in this chapter?
Yeah, here's the thing. First of all, to give it to this over edutainment, this is an inherently more interesting and important topic than fucking champagne. So
Yeah.
I will give it that. If it just explains its topics in a similar way, it will still be inherently more interesting. But on the flip side, I do have a couple of questions. First of all, what the fuck is up with that girl and her cat?
Yeah, that was weird. Is she trying to fuck her cat or something?
It was very confusing. I don't understand what they were going for. Did she want to test out her condom with her cat? What the fuck does that mean? Was she just thinking about her cat? Like, I genuinely don't understand what that was supposed to be.
I don't either. It was really weird.
It was very strange. And then her cat rips up the fucking condom. And then she wants condoms because she thinks that her cat might like to eat them. What the... okay.
The whole thing was super fucking weird.
It was very strange. I mean, the other one is that, like, Suji basically, like, sexually harasses the nurse in front of her entire classroom. She's like, hey, school nurse, we're in front of a bunch of kids. You want to have sex? You want to test out this dental dam? Dude, you're fired. I don't know what to tell you, man. I do appreciate at least that the nurse was like, hey, you just sexually harassed me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that the series had a teacher just be like, that's not great that you did that.
I was actually thinking about this unrelated, but have you seen the sexual harassment humongous video from like 15 years or 10 years ago?
No.
So it's from H3H3 back before they got controversial, where there was like a guy talking about like an issue, and I think it was Seattle politics. Maybe it was like drug funding for like anti-drug stuff. And I forget how it happened, but this woman was talking to him and she's like, what's your name? And he says, my name is Hugh, humongous. And she starts screaming how he's sexually harassing her by saying that.
Oh my God.
Randomly thinking about that video like last week. Lady, that's a little far, right?
If he was like, I don't know, I'm humongous, like my dick, that's one thing.
Yeah, it's like saying his name is Frenchie Toast.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like humongous. I could see how she was like, oh, he's talking about his dick. As far as I understand, I haven't seen the video. I'm assuming he didn't say humongous dick.
No, he just said his name was humongous.
Yeah.
It's clearly a little sexual, but it's like, I don't think anyone really, I would say it's probably inappropriate, but not sexual harassment to say your name is humongous. I do want to say, though, that the series is very sex positive, which is nice.
Yeah.
It feels like it's trying to actually authentically teach you about sex, and it's not just do abstinence or make it seem terrible. It's trying to say that having a teenage population that fully understands is going to be the best approach to this topic. And it's actually interesting. There was a big controversy. This series, I think, got like an 18 plus rating when it came out in America, and everyone was like, what? Yeah. This clearly needed to be like a 16 and up series, because that's the whole point of the topic of this.
Yeah.
So people were very upset because the series, just because it's about sex, it's not hentai.
Yeah. It's funny because Steph has started watching Love is Blind, which is like...
Oh, Rachel loves that show.
Yeah, well, they have a Japanese version. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because the sexual attitudes and stuff are very different over there. Like, there's just like this very romantic idea of it. Like, a lot of them just seem to not have any experience. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see this series talk about that.
Yeah, this is the first time I've really seen any sort of sex ed education come up.
Same. I was shocked to see a Japanese series that wasn't like super shamey about sex, you know? Like that was actually like positive about it. Granted, you know, it's not like we're getting like a full breadth of Japanese media. We are primarily reading shonen manga, so I mean, that's probably not representative of Japanese culture or media as a whole, but I mean, like, based on the stuff that we read on a whole, I just noticed I said that. Ha ha ha. Anyway, but for what we read, it was kind of surprising. It's like, oh, great, awesome, cool, yeah, that good, yeah.
And then Jordan, though, would you read our 10 chapters of this?
Yeah, mostly just curious to see like where the series like what they do with this.
I agree. And then, Jordan, what do you think will happen next?
I think that there will be a trans character, and I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Trans rights.
Trans rights, you know? If any series is going to do it, it's going to be this one. Mm-hmm. I think that the teacher also sexually harasses men.
Do you think the teacher is bisexual?
Yeah, maybe that's my guess. My guess is that the teacher is bisexual. And the series will never actually address whether or not that girl is or is not sexually attracted to her cat.
All right, my guesses are, I think there will not be any actual nudity. You will never actually see a penis in this series.
Can I just say really quick, I really love how they basically censored the vagina and anus in this chapter with the two parentheses and the line in between it, and then there's an asterisk for the butthole. I thought that was funny.
That is pretty funny.
I was like, all right, yeah.
I think in an attempt to make a plot, there's going to be some weird sex rumor going around the school that she's going to have to like myth bust, and that'll be very educational.
It'll be like, whoa, I saw a hentai where a guy stuck his hand into a girl's ass and jacked himself off.
Get it? Can you get pregnant off of VR porn?
Can you get pregnant off of VR porn? My boyfriend kissed me. Do I need to get an abortion? Just like so many things of people reading hentai and being like, is this possible? Can I do this, teacher? Like...
Good. And then my final guess is the series slowly starts to play it safe with how direct it is in the content because it finds that it's having issues being published and it's like you have to tone it down and it kind of defeats the purpose. And maybe that's why it got canceled because it wasn't educational anymore because it had to censor itself too much. Or it just ran out of topics that could also... We'll see.
Yeah, maybe it covered everything related to human sexuality.
We'll see. And then Jordan, what's your power word?
Safety, because this series is about safety.
I like it. And mine is positive because this series is very sex positive and I felt like I gave the first chapter a positive reception. Anyway, let's get in the Q&A. I want to say a big thank you to people who submit their questions on the Discord. We always give priority to those who haven't asked a question before, had a question answered in a long time, or our patrons. Starting with Kermit the Grog. If you had to make a producer-style musical out of a flop manga from Jump, what would you pick and why?
Gut reaction, super smartphone.
Super smartphone? I feel Candy Flurry. I don't know why, but I just feel like that'd be fun. And then you can throw candy at the audience.
The idea is you make a shitty musical.
Fuck, you're right. That was actually a good idea.
Yeah, no, super smartphone would be like the most boring shit. It's just, yeah, I'm Googling things on my super Google on my phone.
Yeah, hold on.
Like,
let me just sit here.
Hold on. Let me Google things.
Well, Cypher Academy, because no one would know what the fuck is going on the entire time.
Yeah, I suppose, but even that would, I don't know, like...
Or Family Secrets, where you just feel like your entire time was immensely wasted in the second and third act.
I just feel like those have like too much drama to them. Like there's a surrealist quality to Family Deadly Secrets, but like
because it's true, you need something that's bad, but not so bad it's good. What about Chameleon Jail?
Chameleon Jail. That could be all right. Again, it's just like Super Smartphone is so mundane and so uninteresting. Like there's a mundanity to it.
What about Wizard Soul, where you just watch people play card games?
Oh, okay. Yeah, and you don't actually see the cards they're playing.
Yeah.
You just see them react to them, and you don't understand how the game works, and it's just like...
And they don't explain the game mechanics.
They don't explain the game. So that would be pretty good, yeah.
All right. Okay, let's get on to the next one. From Redblade, you talk a lot about waifus, but what manga character would you call your husbando? And I think, Jordan, it's got to be Orpheus, right?
I was going to say Orpheus. It's got to be Orpheus.
Orpheus is definitely... the character I would most want as my actual husband.
It's Orpheus. He's a good guy, a good dad, and man, he, that big dolphin, man.
Okay. From Spubby, if you don't know if this has ever been asked, so I might as well ask anyway, what would you rather fight, 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
1 horse-sized duck.
I think I'd rather fight 100 ducks because it's kind of like a...
Well, 100 duck-sized horses, David.
Because, horses are actually fairly fragile creatures. So you really just, one good kick, because it's not like... They have, a center of gravity. I think you could just really just plow through them. It'd be like a Muso game, you know? Where you just, barrage, but a giant duck. And I assume we're not taking into things like the square cube law, where probably the physics of how a duck's body would break down at that scale. But, for instance, people have had their arms broken by, swans hitting them full force with their wings.
That is actually an old wives' tale, based on long debunked British tabloids and hearsay. While swans are strong enough to do some massive bruising, they are not strong enough to actually break your bones without breaking their own wings. According to John Huston of the Abbotsbury Swanery in Dorset, England, they might get aggressive and hiss and flap their wings, but the danger is overrated, and it is a myth that they can break your arm or leg with their wings. They're not that strong. It's mostly show and bluster. However, it is true that swans are incredibly aggressive, and if you are caught on the water with a swan, they will drown you. Stay the fuck away from swans.
But going by would I be able to crawl up the duck's anus and then make it explode that way?
You know what, Jordan? You're so right. I didn't think about the ability to reach into the animal's anal cavity.
Thank you.
I don't know what to do with that information.
You gotta think about this stuff. That's how you beat Thanos.
You know what? I'm not going to.
Cool. That's why I win this. Anyway.
Okay.
That's why I'm beating the horse-sized duck.
Yeah, next up, these 3 questions are from Marty. What's the difference between 2 space-themed series, the Shonen but canceled series Stars and the sending manga Space Brothers? One is set in space, and one is about brothers.
Yeah, one has an "and" in the title.
True. What is your reaction to High School Family getting canceled, and are you disappointed by it, especially that it didn't get an anime adaptation? Yes.
I'm sad and yes.
If Aktosh was never canceled, if the co-author of the series never committed a scandal, and the author continued drawing the series, how many story arcs, volumes, and years will the series run, and will there be an anime adaptation to be released alongside the stage play that never happened? At least 7, and probably yes.
Okay.
And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for submitting their questions. Just remember, you can support the show and get the best prices on manga at mangamart.com/shonenflop. MangaMart's a family-owned store offering 20% off manga with free shipping over $100. Jordan, thank you so much for all your hard work on the show.
Thank you for everything that you do on the show, David.
Thanks to Dylan for assistance with editing. You can find his podcast, Anime Out of Context, at animeoutofcontext.com. We're actually going to go record an episode with them right after this.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tucker and MaxyBee for assistance with pronunciation, translation, and other miscellaneous research. Thanks to Kalal for being our social media manager. Find us on Blue Sky/X at Shonen Flop, Tumblr Shonen-Flop, and our website ShonenFlop.com. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever else you get your podcast. If you want more weekly David and Jordan, you can find us every Friday on the Chainsaw Minute, where we talk about the latest chapter of Chainsaw Man. Find it at csm.libsyn.com or wherever else you listen to Shonen Flop. Come join the Shonen Flop Discord. It's open to everyone, patron or not. Hang out with us and talk about anime, games, whatever else is on your mind. Even have a manga book club and movie nights. Find a link to it in the show notes or on our site, shonenflop.com. And if you've been enjoying the podcast and want to help us keep going, subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/shonenflop. Along with that warm and fuzzy feeling of helping us out, you also get access to monthly bonus episodes, including the Shonen Drop, where Jordan and I look back at the previous month's episode and open the mystery box. Jordan, what was our bonus episode this month, and what did we talk about in the mystery box?
David, we covered the first 3 volumes of Undead Unluck.
Hell yeah.
The series translator, David Evelyn.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That man has a lot of wisdom about that series.
He has hugged the author.
It's true. And Jordan, what was in the mystery box?
Well, David, we're covering the pilot for Fabricant 100. I'm sure it will be fabulous. And 100.
She literally looks like Lady D. And if that's not enough, other perks include picking a manga for us to cover in a main episode, episodes up to a week in advance, and behind-the-scenes content like warm-up audio or recording notes. I want to read off some of our wonderful patrons. Starting with the Dolphin Head tier, we have my wonderful wife, Rachel. I hope she's having a great time at the beach. Moving on down to the Ravioli tier, where I had a game night and Ravioli had so much fun saying hi to all her best friends. She took a big nap afterward. We have Chris,
Aww.
Eva, Jeanette Davis, Justin, Matt, Scarlett, T, Tiffany, and Trevor. Moving on down to the King of the Forest, we have 090Z, Bandit Stoof,
My girlfriend.
Brad, follow AOC on Blue Sky, Ivan, Kirbyman, Marty, Riley, Sarah, and Tommy Boy. Moving on down to the Galactic Ball Federation officers, we have a deep, sexy voice as Relax, Midsize Sedan, Ages, Andy, Aura, Biza, Blamumu, Brandon M, Cole, David, Dennis, Dingo, Don't Dox Me, Drago, Drew, Nigel, Fax, Flashcardman, Funky Green Overdrive, Ian, Jacob, Jason, Kalal, Keanu, King Salamander, Kino, Lay, Liam, Maddie C, Manly P. Hall, my dad, Matt, Max, Mecha Scott, Mike, Obscure Reference. Anyone for this one, Jordan?
Man, wild what happens after the first section of Dragon Quest V, man. That's some brutal shit.
Sure. Rem, if I send you an our penguin plushie. Resident Warhammer Nerd, Savia, Sybil, Silly Rookie, Simping for Senpai Ash, Staghorn, Taper Clip, Tucker, Verity, Yelsian, and ZZ Digital. A big thank you to our Beast Children as well.
Yes, thank you. I love you all very much, including whoever that was that David could not pronounce their name. Ulyssean? Is that who that is?
Sure. Jordan, anything you want to toss in?
Those who know about that part of Dragon Quest V, they know. But also, listen to Mission.
All right, thanks so much for listening. Tune in next Monday as we give our full thoughts on Sex at 120%, featuring the official series letter, Sarah.
Yes! And this has been Jordan.
This has been David.
And you've been listening to Shonen Flop. David, say it.
Keep on flopping floppers.
Bye.